All right, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Thursday edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Hudco Roofing, HUDCORoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. Hudco Roofing, HUDCORoofing.com. Tigers took it on the chin last night. Not terribly surprising, obviously. Tough spot to go on the road in Tuscaloosa. We've talked about that a ton. A place where over the years LSU just hasn't had a lot of success, and a lot of the issues that LSU has had persist. So disappointing, no doubt. I know everyone's talking about the refs. That was the bulk of the conversation on Nightcap. Y'all know my feelings over and over again. All refs are bad at their jobs. Yes, there's a massive foul disparity in the ball game last night. A lot of that has to do with how LSU plays stylistically. But I would still point out that I thought missing the goaltending, which led to Will Wade's technical, that was egregious. You would at least have to review it. And it led to a foul on the other end, and then Will's technical, which was essentially 4 points for Bama right there. You could look at the margin, but I'd also say, Will said it after the game, and he had to go to bat for his team right there, and that's really what sparked him. That's what sparked the rally. Ultimately tied the game and had the ball with a chance to take the lead and couldn't get a shot to fall. So, and then Bama spurted, and LSU couldn't quite climb all the way back. So, well, they fought right there until the very end, but fall 70-67. So Tigers have lost their second in a row, now 3-3 in conference. We talked about this brutal stretch to start conference play. I was hoping they could go 5-2, win the home games, split the road games. They could still split the road games if they win at Tennessee, and that's 4-3. And candidly, that's where Will Wade had said that he thought they could be through 7 games. The one that got away clearly was the Arkansas game, but go win Saturday at Tennessee. You've already beaten that team. You're better than that team, so maybe you get Xavier Pinson back for that game, and get to 4-3 in the league, and then you'll be able to start stringing together some wins because your schedule lightens up considerably the rest of the way. So that, and then the great news for football is Gaye announced he's returning. So. Remember Gaye in that opening game against Mississippi State of 2020, we looked at him and we're like, geez, is this guy even going to finish the season? Like, he may opt out right now and just go straight to the draft. Well, that season didn't go for anybody how we all hoped it was going to go. And then he got injured this past year, so it's led him to come back to LSU for a third season. That's going to be a huge benefit for Brian Kelly and for that defensive line. So, having Gaye back and B.J. Ojulari, you got your starting defensive ends. We've talked about where you could kick Mason Smith out to end as well if you need it. You got some veteran guys who could be part of a rotation with Sony Fanua and Jarrell Cherry. Some young guys like Xavier Carter. So let's see what they do with Quincy Wiggins. You got some bodies out there to form a rotation. Go battle it out. All right, let's say some good mornings here, see what y'all got. Ryan Amanda Guidry, good morning. Tommy Vienendahl. LSU needs to boot up. Kelly Groves, Jeff McKithen, Kyle DeVille, Lowell Cormier, Catherine Babineau, what's up? Brian Wynn, Trey Mitchell, good morning. We won't win with every team shooting 25-plus free throws on us. Well, you can't, Trey, and they almost did last night. That's going to be on LSU being more disciplined on the defensive end and not committing some stupid fouls. Committing fouls 85 feet from the basket is stupid. Reaching hand checks are tough to watch, but it's something that they call in the game now, and I hate it. But when you're as active defensively as this LSU team is, constantly reaching and trying to tip balls and strip balls, and you're going to get whistled. You're going to get whistled. It's just the style of play. So, the ones I don't like, they called an offensive foul against Efton Reed. He and the defender were trying to gain position. Defender was on his back, and they called the offensive foul against Efton Reed. I don't like that. I think that's a crap call. Those are the kinds of things that are tough. But then I look at the block by Amwani at the end of the game that they reviewed. Y'all, Amwani had half of the dude's arm and made body contact. Like, he crushed him. that they were fawning over it on the broadcast. That should have been a foul. I mean, if there was everyone that should have been, that was it, and they didn't call it. So, I don't know, man. I think LSU stylistically, the way they play, they're going to have to deal with this. The bigger issue for LSU right now is controlling what you can control. And you had 20 turnovers in that ball game last night. You had 20 turnovers, and you missed 6 free throws. That's a problem. They're showing the goaltend right now, actually. And Will Wade lost his they pixelated his mouth. On SportsCenter, they pixelated his mouth when he said that's effing BS. But Gaines getting hot, getting LSU back in it, though. Let's see. Chase Pellegrin, good morning. Glad you're back on the podcast. Looking forward to listening to you. Yeah, so by the way, y'all, full disclosure, LSU Daily is up, but I had to record it last night after AFR. So the recap of the basketball game is not on LSU Daily today, nor is the Gaye news, because that broke after I finished the podcast. So anyway, so tomorrow's episode will have a lot of that stuff in it. A quick recap of Bama, preview the Tennessee game, and then Gaye news and anything else that pops. Okay, Shane Henry, Kenneth Westbrook, hey Dad, good morning. Kelly Presley, what happened at Days? Sprained ankle, is that what they said? Tim Gotro, Trivia Carter, Joey Vincent, good morning. Lane Oakley, good morning. Tough L last night for LSU. Hard fought game, nonetheless. Y'all have a good one. Yeah, man. Yes, tough loss, but again, not one you were maybe hoping to get, but not one you were expecting to get. So it's not devastating. Let me see if they've updated the net. Let's see. LSU has fallen to, they're ninth in the net. After the loss last night, they fell from 8 to 9. I mean, they're still a top 10 team in the net. That's why I laugh when people are like, oh, cupcake schedule. No. Just because you don't know the team on the marquee doesn't mean that it's a cupcake schedule. I mean, you've got some really nice, I mean, you've already played Auburn, obviously, but even still, when you look in the non-conference, you're going to have some nice opportunities there in the non-conference that I'm looking at LSU. Let's see. They are 10-1 home. All right, 4-2 in quad 1 games, 4-1 in quad 2 games. So 11 of your games so far have been quad 1 or quad 2 games. You're 3-0 against quad 3 and 4-0 against quad 4. So, you can poo-poo Liberty or Louisiana Tech, but those are good basketball teams that are going to win a lot of games, that are going to boost your net ranking as you go throughout the season, because those teams are going to win 20-plus games and have a great chance to be tournament teams. TCU is 59th in the net right now. You have them coming up. You haven't played them yet, but that's an opportunity there. So you have opportunities coming up. Tim Gotro, did you watch Wade in the post game? What's the word on Day's injury? All I saw on Twitter was that it was a mild sprain, they said. Austin O'Quinn, good morning to everyone except Alabama and John DeLon. I'll leave John alone. So John was a guy who popped onto Nightcap last night, and I disagreed with his opinion on something, and so he defaulted to that's why people don't like you, Matt. And to which I replied, you've been watching this for an hour and a half on a Wednesday night. What does that say about you? Anyway, I kind of torched him a little bit, but respect to John DeLon, and I hope he has a wonderful day also. Jesse Brown, good morning. Is LSU basketball in trouble? No, Jesse, they're not in trouble. LSU basketball is not in trouble, brother. They're fine. They lost a disappointing home game, and they lost a really tough road game, which you probably expected to lose anyway. They can win on Saturday, and you completely change it. This is the thing, like, I don't know how many times in the first month, 6 weeks of the season, I said the first 7 games of conference are brutal. How many times did I say that? Like, it's the funniest thing because no matter how many times you say it, from the 10,000 foot view, when you're going through the storm, people never keep that perspective. Like, we talked about it for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks about how brutal the first 7 games of conference play were. We talked about it. And then once you get through the first 7, you'll be favored in every game the rest of the way except probably your road trip to Kentucky. Maybe an underdog at Arkansas, but that's it. In the next 11 games, you're going to be favored in 9 or 10 of them. You will have an amazing opportunity to stockpile wins throughout the remainder of this schedule. And you're going to get Xavier Pinson back. They're fine. They're fine. Keith H., good morning. Great to see Drew last night. Yeah, Drew popped on to Nightcap last night. Chualt1, smash the like button. Thank you, Chualt1. Appreciate that. Yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, do us a solid, smash that like button. Irfan Sayad, Devin Kelly, Cliff Nelson, good morning. Trey Guy, Matt, what's good? Come on, people, smash the like button for the GOAT. Thank you, Trey. Cesar Vasquez, morning, Matt. Refereeing was ridiculous again. Need Pinson, but Efton Reed gets pushed around and lately has been ineffective. There were some questions like last night on Nightcap about Efton Reed, and let me see what his stat line was in the game. Efton finished with 23 minutes, 4 points, 5 rebounds. He did have a block, 4 turnovers, and then the 5 fouls. Problem Efton Reed is having, a pretty obvious one. And I said this last night on Nightcap, I'll say it again here. In my opinion, Efton Reed will have the longest NBA career of anybody on the current LSU basketball team. There was a play late in the first half, one of his only 2 baskets, where he gets the ball on the right block and immediately draws a double team. He tries to fake and then go up. They're on him. So he just skies straight up, baby hook, and drops it in. Yo, there aren't many humans walking the face of planet Earth that are that big, with that skill level, with that touch, that have the ability to do that. And the NBA drafts based on skill set and potential. And I told y'all this when Naz Reid went pro. And all y'all said, Naz Reid stinks, he needs to come back, Naz Reid ain't a pro player. I said, y'all, Naz Reid is a 6'10" brick bleep house who has a great attitude. Even when he was on the bench as a 5-star, he's the one waving the towel, going crazy, diving after the loose balls against Centenary. And he can take the ball up. There aren't dudes that are that big walking the face of planet Earth that can do that. He's going to play in the NBA. He's an NBA player. And sure enough, Naz Reid's playing every night right now for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Same thing with Trendon Watford. And the same thing is going to be true for Efton Reed. He's 19 years old. Like, he physically needs to come into his body. He's 19 years old. He turned 19, or I'm sorry, he'll turn 20 on February 3rd. He's 19. Like, he needs to grow physically into his body. He needs to get stronger, and he'll develop. He's 19 years old. Like, he's going to be fine. But when you're banging against dudes that are 20, 21, 22, that have been in college basketball, that are experienced veteran college basketball players, you're going to get pushed around a little. And so he needs to grow up physically and mature in his game as well, and he will. He'll be fine. But Caesar, to your point, yes, he is getting pushed around. He is, yes. And I think it's why you need to start seeing more from Sharif O'Neal. And you're going to see more of that rotation. Fudge played 18 minutes. Sharif only played 6 last night. Tari Eason played 31 minutes last night, almost out of necessity. But yeah. Kenny Schultz. Morning, Matt. Love the show. Brian Kelly has me refreshing Twitter constantly every day. I love it. I keep warning people too, Kenny. It's not going to be like this every year. Like, they're not going to sign 11 and they're going to get more too in this class. They're not going to go after double-digit transfers every year. It's just one of those years where you have to. You have to because of your numbers. So So they are, but it'll normalize. Chris Nelson, good morning, Matt. Great show last night. With all the head coach openings in the NFL, are you surprised we're not hearing Dennis Allen's name out there more? Not complaining. Does he take over for Sean if when he goes? Yeah, great question. We did talk about that on AFR last week. How Jeff Ireland's name has been mentioned for some GM jobs, but we haven't heard Dennis Allen's name at all. And he did interview for a job last year, but I think part of it is you see so much of the copycat part of the NFL is going toward young offensive-minded coaches. That's why you hear a lot of Byron Leftwich and some of the young OCs in the game. You just look around, right? I mean, if it's Sean McVay or if it's Cliff Kingsbury, it's young offensive-minded coaches that are all the rage. So maybe that's what's knocked Dennis Allen down a rung. But I'm not complaining. He's been magnificent defensively for the Saints. He's made the Saints from literally in 2012, that 12, 13, 14 stretch where they were abysmal. I mean, he's turned them into a top 5 defense in the NFL consistently. Brandon, hey Matt, there's a great relaxing boat ride to an island in San Fran Bay. Check it out. We're not going to a prison. It's not happening. I would go to Alcatraz. My wife is not going to a prison on our vacation. Brian Penn, what's up, Brian? Rap in batches, what's up? No Saint. Hey Matt, chances on the Georgia wide receiver transfer to LSU. I'd love to see it. I don't have any inside info on it. Obviously, a guy that at one point y'all reminded me last night was committed to LSU, and Cortez Hankton, the Georgia wide receiver coach, obviously just joined at LSU. Tigers have already brought in Kyron Lacey, but you've seen, oh wow, another baseball commit, James Whitaker. Man. Anyway, but we've seen John Trey Kirkland leave, Trey Palmer, Deion Smith. Who else am I missing? Coy Moore earlier this year. I feel like there's one more. Anyway, you've seen a bunch of wide receivers out, and the only ones you brought in are Landon Ibieta, who you signed. You got, and then you just brought in Kyron Lacey. So if you're trying to bolster your numbers there's an opportunity. Carl Walker, good morning, Matt. Great show. They need more movement with the basketball. I agree with that. It drove me crazy, the lack of execution down the stretch. I know they're missing players. The movement without the basketball is something that really was an issue against Arkansas. They were stagnant. And I believe that getting Xavier Pinson back solves a lot of that. You get your point guard back, your facilitator back. It's going to help all that. Hey, Tomas, good morning. If Armstead walks, could you see Peyton moving Pete to left tackle? No, I could see them moving Ramczyk to left tackle. And I was reminded of this yesterday, Tomas. Ramczyk actually has a clause in his contract where if he becomes the starting left tackle, his salary bumps by $1 million. So, Pete was a left tackle in college at Stanford, and he has been, at times, very solid there. Whenever Armstead's been hurt, they've had to kick him out. But no, I think if they're looking for a franchise left, if they don't re-sign Armstead, I think if you can't draft a left tackle, I think more than likely what you see is they kick Ramczyk over to left tackle. Wendell Norman, good morning. Can't wait to see what our Saints do this offseason. Yeah, man. Look, they got a hustle starting to get under the salary cap too. Let's see, Matt. Now that Kelly has completed his staff, when do you think he'll have a press conference? Think it'll be before February signing period? I don't think so, Brian. I think it'll be that day, right? Like that, to announce that signing class, February. No Saint. Let's see. So happy to see LSU become a 3-sport contender. Makes the year so much better. Very true. It's always better when they win, man. And on top of that, too, on top of just football, baseball, basketball, I mean, Kim Mulkey's got the women churning. Gymnastics under Jay Clark, they're going to be great again this year. Beth always has the softball team in contention. They're supposed to be really good this year as well. So a lot of good stuff going on over there, man. Let's see, Trey. Hey, Matt, who do you think will be the starting center next year? Will they get one from the portal? Well, they might have gotten one. That might be Tremont Shorts, the signee from East Tennessee State. He's played all across the line, and he could play anywhere. So I think you probably go into this year with Tremont Shorts, Charles Turner battling out for the starting center job. Hey, Jay Benoit, good morning. Jump back over here to Facebook. Appreciate y'all for watching as always. Do me a favor, Facebook, like the page, share the post. YouTube, smash that like button. As always, shout out to Brock. New year, new career. Brock is hiring. brortho.com, brortho.com. Hudco Roofing, hudcoroofing.com. Roof repairs, roof replacements. We can even soft wash your roof. Hudco Roofing, hudcoroofing.com. Sean Comiskey, more Matt. You told me LSU would be 15-3 this far into the season. I've been ecstatic, but I mean 25-10 on fouls. Come on, Sean, it's how they play, man. I mean, I'm not happy about it, and I would love to see that number normalize. But a big part of that is how LSU plays. You're going to see that number high, just how they play. Gaines has played well, getting a lot of minutes. When Pinson comes back, that'll be big down the road. Chase Pellegrin, have you tried Still Austin Castro? I have not, Chase. And somebody yesterday asked on Bourbon Dictionary when Taylor was on AFR about it. And I'm realizing it's won some awards at the International Spirits Competition, and not it's got won double golds. I need to try. I have not tried it, but I need to. Darren Glazer, the non-call goaltending was BS. It's true. Any coach would have gone to battle for their kids like that. Officiating was awful, to say the least. When you have 20-plus turnovers, you don't make your free throws, it's hard to win. That's the point. Control your controllables, and you win that game, and LSU didn't. You know what I mean? You got a chance to tie the ball game, and your best player dribbles the ball out of bounds behind his back with 30 seconds left in the game. Come on. Glenn Thomas, Kelly is and will continue to build a new culture with the players who want to be here. Solid work so far with plenty more to come. The O-line will be massively different. Well, they'll be massively different, Glenn, because they're going to have a ton of different players. I mean, you're losing 4 starters. They're going to be different, yeah. And I hope he gets the culture right. The thing about the players who want to be here, I mean, Glenn, to say that the guys on the team last year didn't want to be here is, come on, man. I mean, you have 85 scholarship players. Everybody on the roster has a different reality to them. To make a blanket statement like that about players who want to be here, I think it's just, y'all know that ain't my speed, man. Shelby Kelly, can't wait to talk midweek games. Is LSU in trouble? Shelby. Kyle DeVille, what's up? With all the new recruits at LSU, we're number 1 in the transfer portal. Yeah, and listen, I don't want to tinkle on anybody's Cheerios, Kyle, but you're number 1 in the portal because you've signed 11 players. It's like whenever Tennessee, that year, Tennessee had 23 commitments by July, and they were number 1 in the recruiting rankings. Well, it's because you have 23 commitments, and your cumulative score is high because you have more players than everybody. I don't think every transfer that's part of this LSU class is going to be a starter or a stud. It's just the numbers don't work that way. But I think you're going to get guys that are obviously going to contribute at positions of need, no doubt. Randy Bennett, Mike Henry. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate that, man. Said I enjoy listening every morning. Ryan, Amanda Guidry. Drew even ripped one on your leg. He did. Drew was sitting on my lap, and he farted. He didn't fart. He farted. Hey, Justin Arnold. Hudco finished my new roof yesterday. Looks awesome. Thank you for trusting us, Justin. We appreciate the opportunity, man. To everyone who's given us at HUDCO the opportunity to earn your business, give us a shout, HUDCOroofing.com. Even if insurance has denied your claim, or if you've talked to another roofer and they're months out, give us a shout. We're not. And we use CertainTeed shingles manufactured in Shreveport. So we are a Louisiana company, use Louisiana shingles with Louisiana workers. Scott Bork, what's going on? Glenn Thomasy, Jason Gonzalez. Oh, Alex Adams. Thank you. That's the other wide receiver that transferred. Thank you. Kyle DeVille, we will be good at wide receiver. Need to focus on linebacker and corners. They need corners is what they need more than anything. Hey, Mark, good morning. Brant Roban, morning, Scone. Didn't watch the whole game. Do you think Will Wade's technical cost the game? No, I think Will Wade's technical is what got LSU back in the game. That's what woke the team up, and they put a blitzkrieg on and got all the way back and tied the game. If Will didn't get that technical, I think it snowballs and you lose by 30. Larry Cavalier, good morning. What's your take on Brandon Ingram leading the Pels of Zion out due to weight issues? He should. He's an all-star. He's a great player. Brandon English, man, I'd love to see where this team would be with Adam Miller. No doubt, man. When I made my Final Four prediction, that was a big part of it. He was going to be your leading scorer on this team. So it would be sure nice to have a guy that could pour in 15 a night, wouldn't it? Let's see any more. Will Days and Pinson be back for Saturday? Brant, I don't know. I don't know. They were hopeful for Pinson last night. Obviously didn't happen. Oh, and I also heard that they had plane. John Brady texted me. They had plane issues, so they just went straight to Knoxville instead of waiting to come back here and then to fly out tomorrow. So they just went straight to Knoxville. So you got a few days with less travel than you were anticipating. So maybe, get him get him right. Okay. Jay Benoit, I love the new podcast. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Yeah, if y'all haven't yet, do me a solid. Subscribe. LSU Daily. However you get your podcast, LSU Daily. Spotify, iTunes, Spotify, rate us, review, all that stuff is super appreciated. So thanks so much. Yeah, LSU Daily. Brandon, Matt, got the scone and coffee. Time for a HUDCO hustle. Okay, on the way out, we'll do the HUDCO hustle. All right, HUDCO Roofing, HUDCOroofing.com. Matt, while in San Fran, look into the Cliff House as a place to eat. You won't be disappointed. Okay, good looking out. Denley Nelson, don't forget LSU won the Hip Hop Natty. They did. Shout out to the Tiger Girls. Matt, love watching the clip of Pissed Off Wade, the I've Got Their Backs, and Us Against the World is classic Dale Brown. And one more, Scott McClendon. Morning, Matt. Signing transfers is what you have to do when you are a new coach at a school. Look at Woodlane Kiffin to do at Ole Miss. No time to recruit normally. Next year will be different. Hey, look, it's also, I've mentioned it a bajillion, it's also a unique year where you have not only immediate eligibility, but you can oversign by 7. So if there was ever a year to have that kind of roster turnover for a new coach, this is one. Okay, I got to get going, y'all. I got to get Drew up, got to get him out to the new St. Lillian. Thanks so much for watching. Facebook, do me a solid. Like the page, share the post. YouTube, smash that like button if you haven't done it yet. We appreciate y'all greatly as always. And by the way, YouTube, if you're not yet, please subscribe to the Matt Moscona channel and set notifications so when we go live, this is where we'll be. So nightcap with Scone, morning Scone, post-game, reaction shows, all that. Whenever we go live, however you're watching right now, this is where we're live when we go live. So, all right. Y'all have a great day. Appreciate y'all. AFR3. Peace.